Hello again, folks, and a warm welcome to the Celtic Forever podcast. I am Xander, and we've got John here to talk the European game on Wednesday night. Tonight, a massive fixture for Celtic, Red Star Belgrade. We're back in Europe, we're back in the Euro League, the Europa League. That's the cards we've been dealt, so we have to play them, I'm afraid. It's Europa League, no Champions League for us, but let's bring in John, because I want to start with some news and some other stuff that's going on just now, and we want to talk about this Celtic fan that was attacked by the Red Star Belgrade thugs. Don't I call them fans? Thugs, John. They're no supporters, they're no fans, they're just animals. Celtic supporter in hospital today, attacked over in Belgrade, John. No a great start, is it?
No, I can only wish the guy a speedy recovery. But it's no good for his family, you know. The guy's over there to watch a game, and their family get a call that he's in hospital. We don't know how serious it is, but that's what you don't want to hear. That's definitely what you don't want to hear, especially if there's any kind of retribution for that attack.
Yeah, that's it, John. And the club's released a statement. Celtic, that is, have released a statement about safety concerns. So anybody going over there, just be safe. Get into the stadium early. The club want the fans in nice and early before the Red Star Belgrade fans arrive. And the Celtic fans will be held back for an hour as well after the game. So I think that's the norm anyway, isn't it, in a European tie? So safety concerns there for the Celtic supporters over there. Just everybody stay safe. Keep out of trouble. I know sometimes the trouble comes to you, but just be safe, everybody. Keep your wits about you and stay safe, and everybody get home nice and safe. Right, John, let's get into some other stuff surrounding Celtic before we get into the preview of the game. And also want to quickly mention the competition, actually, John, the 25-player league table to win the fantastic prize. Get your guesses into the comments, folks, for tonight's game. Celtic versus Red Star, or Red Star versus Celtic. One guess each out of the comments, correct score guess, and if you get your guess correct, obviously that gives you 3 points onto the league table, where Roseanne is sitting at the top with 9 points, John on 6, and everybody else below on 3, and I'm down near the bottom and amongst the zero gang, if you like. So good luck everybody with that Red Star Belgrade game. Correct score. A few people have already put their guess in, actually, John, over on the podcast we done the other day, so we've got to go between two different podcasts for this one, but okay, that's it. That wraps that up. Competition, good luck everybody with that. Right, John, Celtic stuff, let's get into that. The derby date, John, the Glasgow derby, still not been announced. I mean, I looked everywhere for this. Is it the first? Is it the second? I mean, come on, it's no rocket science, is it? We just want to know if it's Saturday or Sunday, but we don't know yet, John. This Glasgow derby semi-final in the League Cup, date's not been announced yet. We know it's the 1st or the 2nd of November, but it's not been confirmed Saturday or Sunday yet.
Aye, it will be a Sunday, I would imagine. I mean, these games are normally on a Sunday, aren't they? And it was the final draw at the Hat as well. So, look, I can only look into that. It's the final draw at the Hat, and the derby games are normally a Sunday. So, I think we can take it as read that it's going to be a Sunday, Xander.
Yeah, I think so. We did say that the other day, didn't we, when the draw was made. But come on, it's no rocket science. Just tell us what date it is so people can make early arrangements for that, because there is people coming over from Ireland and things need to be booked, etc. And not just Ireland, America, England, France, all over the place. So let the supporters know when it's Saturday or Sunday. If you don't mind, that would be nice. Right, John, Alistair Johnston, he could return earlier than expected. That's good news, I suppose. We were thinking mid-November for Alistair return, but it could be a wee bit earlier, John. It could be mid-October, near the end of October, but early is early. Any weeks early is a bonus, John, if we get Alistair back. Obviously, we've got young Donovan in there doing a fantastic job just now, but obviously we want the experienced players back, John, fit and healthy, and it's just great news that Alistair could be back a bit earlier. He's making good progress with his injury, John.
Aye, that's always good to have Alistair back. Although I think the wee man's doing a great job there. I think Donovan's a cracking wee right back. I think he'll start the night as well, actually. But when he's on that kind of form, That'll push Alistair Johnson as well, and Tony Ralston. It'll push them to try and do better, because I think he's going to be hard to push out the team in his current form. I mean,
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just as well we've got Donovan there, to be honest with you, John, because failing us having Donovan available to play it right back, we'd maybe have to have played players out of position, possibly. I mean, and the Moorer's not available, but we do have Sriracha. He could have maybe played on the right, John. I mean, we don't want to be tinkering with the team, especially in a European game. But we do have Donovan, John, and I think he will start tonight. I don't think he'll tinker about with that and play players out of position. I think he'll start with Donovan because this game's just a bit too early for Tony Ralston, I think, John. I think he's another few days away from full fitness. I could be wrong. He could start tonight, but I think he is a doubt for this one tonight, John. Okay, that's it. Good luck to young Donovan if he does indeed play in there. And
big test for him.
Yeah.
It's a big test for him, isn't
it? Yeah, it's a massive game for Donovan, and I think he'll actually thrive, if I'm being honest with you, John. I think he'll thrive in that atmosphere in that stadium, very hostile atmosphere in Belgrade. I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be absolutely fine. And good luck to Alistair as well. The sooner he's back, the better as well. So an early return sounds good to both John and I. Nigel, John, the interview he did yesterday, I put the video on quite late last night where he's laughing at the question being asked about, did you climb any mountains? Obviously, that's a dig at Rangers taking the team to Loch Lomond, John. And I think it was the Celtic, the girl who used to work in Celtic TV, who now works for Premier Sports. She does the interviews. Can't remember that. It's Connie McLaughlin, is it? I think she's the one asking the question, and it's just a dig at Rangers, John. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I've seen the video you put up. That's what I've seen. And it's a wee bit of a dig at Rangers, I think. It's funny. It's always funny having a dig at them, but it's a kind of strange question to ask somebody, isn't it? But Nigel, he definitely did see the funny side of it.
Yeah, he couldn't stop laughing. And the other people in the room couldn't stop laughing at that. So well done, Connie, for asking that question, because I thought it was quite funny. Her asking that, taking the mick out of the Rangers, John. All right, John, that's that. We'll park that because, it's just a wee thing I thought I'd bring up, and I did put the video on. People are enjoying that. David Gray, John, before we get into this Red Star Belgrade Euro night preview, I wanted to mention David Gray coming out yesterday after yet another draw, after getting knocked out of the cup by a very, very poor Rangers team. He wants to go to Celtic Park on Saturday, John, and make history by beating Celtic. Right, don't come out with stupid statements like that when you've just been beat with a rank rotten Rangers team and drawn by a basic Falkirk team, John, or a half decent Falkirk team. But they're just been promoted, John. You couldn't beat them either last night. So don't come out with stupid, brash statements like we're going to make history at Celtic Park when you can't beat Falkirk and you can't beat a rank rotten Rangers.
He's just trying to get the fans on his side, I would imagine, by saying that. Try to get the Hibs fans back on his side after two bad results against a very poor Rangers team, let's be honest. And yeah, like you says, an average Falkirk side, a good wee side, Falkirk, right enough, but you're not entitled to go there, Hibs, you know what I mean, and beat
Sorry,
Falkirk.
John, you broke up there.
I can't remember what it says. It says a whole lot. Everybody will hear it anyway. No, but it's just trying to make it up to the fans, and they're after two bad results. That's basically what I'm saying. He's trying to make it up to the Hibs fans after that. And they will make history at Celtic Park when they get scalped 7-0.
Good reply. Okay. Right, all right, John. Sorry, I don't know if that came through or not, John. Well, apologies if it didn't. But we'll move on. Let's get into the big preview then, John. We're back in the Europa League, unfortunately. But as I said earlier, that's the games we've got to play. So let's talk about it. Red Star Belgrade. Obviously, the fans very hostile in that stadium, John, setting off fireworks, setting off flares. They don't stop singing, they don't stop shouting. I put a wee video on about that as well, actually, with the Carmen Carter-Vickers interview on Facebook and YouTube. I put a wee video of their supporters in the stadium, John. they're going to make a lot of noise for the whole 90 minutes. So, as Karen McCarter-Vickers said, the Celtic players are used to that, playing in Ibrox, John, playing in the away games in Scotland and with the Celtic fans at Celtic Park. So it shouldn't affect the Celtic players. This, I don't think, anyway, John, but you never know. Hostile environments are not easy to play in.
I don't think there's anything else to do in Serbia, is there? So that's probably why you get a lot of noise. I don't know anything about Serbia. It was the whole day Yugoslavia or something like that. What was the cars that Yugoslavia was famous for making? They used to make cars that were imported here. Was it? What if it was the wee Yugo? That would make sense, wouldn't it? Mind the wee Yugo cars?
Yeah, Yugo cars. That's right. I mean, that must have been a while ago, John. But no, that's right. Yugo cars, I remember them actually. But
aye, 1980s. That's what I remember it from when I was young. I remember used to see the wee cars everywhere. Yugo. Can't remember the models. Now you've got like Ford Escort. You had a wee Yugo, but I can't remember the models there. It might have been something else they made there. FSO Polonaise, all that cheap crap. That's the stuff that came out of Yugoslavia. Well, Serbia now, but aye, I just remember the cheap cars. I need to look that up actually. I'll be back at the end of the podcast with what cars they used to make there.
Yeah, FSO Polonaise, I remember them very, very well. They didn't last long, did they? Right, okay, John, let's get into this preview. Back to the preview, sorry. Let's get into it. Right, we'll start with them, John. We'll start with their forum, their players. Let's have a wee word on them. They beat their rivals at the weekend, John. Partizan Belgrade. They beat them away from home, so it's a very decent result for them. They're on form in the league. They've won all of the league games so far, John. That's 7 league games. They've won every single one of them. 7 wins in the league. I don't know how good the Serbian league is, John, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's poor, if it's good, or anything like that, but I do know that they're flying just now, Red Star, with a very decent derby win, if you like, against Partizan Belgrade, John. So they're definitely on form. They're no mugs, let's be honest. We know that Red Star are no mugs. They've also, John, they got knocked out the Champions League the same as Celtic, didn't they? They got at the playoff round, the exact same stage as Celtic against the Paphos, John. So they got beat 3-2 in aggregate against Paphos and knocked into the Europa League. So something tells me that draw is written all over this game, to be honest with you, John. It's 2 similar sort of teams, similar sort of form, both knocked out of the Champions League. But that's decent form domestically for Red Star Belgrade, John. That's 10 wins out of the last 12 games. It's not too bad, is it?
And Celtic always play teams that are on form. That's always the case with Celtic. They're always playing form teams in Europe. Unlike the other mob, Eric Govan, who are always playing teams that are struggling and all that stuff. But Celtic seem to always get teams that's on form. It's going to be a tough game. We know that. Serbian teams traditionally, very good sides, you know. They'll be more than a match for Celtic, I think.
Of course they will, John. And as you say, we always play teams that are on form, flying, you know. That never ends. That's always the case. We never get a team that's just sacked their manager like Rangers always seem to get. But we digress. Let's stick to this game, John. Let's have a wee look. The only household name they really have is Arnautovic, isn't it? Marko Arnautovic, who plays for them, the big 36-year-old striker, John, the veteran striker, if you like, 6'3" Austrian. Was a very good player, John Arnautovic, Marko Arnautovic, but I don't know how he is just now. He scored 6 goals this season in 14 games, so he knows where the net is still, clearly, John, the big man. But that is more or less the only household name, if you like, John. We've all heard of him before, played in the Premier League, of course. But he's definitely one we need to keep an eye on, the big physical striker.
Never heard him. But I'll take your word for it. You know more about all that stuff than I do. Obviously, I'm just about the Scottish game. Used to watch the English Premiership, used to watch the Italian League, Spanish game, But these days, the last 15 years, I've no bothered watching any of that stuff. So you'll know more about them than I do, but I'll take your word for it that he's decent. We'll need to keep an eye on him if that's the case, Sander. He clearly knows where the net is if he's 36 years old and he's banged in so many goals in so many games.
Yeah. You know who he is after tonight. I hope no, actually. I hope no.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah. Another player I've got, John, want to watch is, obviously, clearly not heard of this boy, but he's scored 10 goals already this season. It's Katai. He scored 10 goals in 13 games. That's some strike rate. As I said earlier, I don't know how Serbian football is these days. I don't know if it's strong, don't know if it's weak. I'm not too sure, but you know, at any level, John, 10 goals in 13 games, especially for a team like Red Star Belgrade, you know, that's also not too bad a figure, is it? 10 goals, 13 games?
We'll need to hope Katai isn't purring the night.
Oh, God. That was nearly as bad as my Bruce Forsyth impersonation the other day.
I was watching the game last night, actually, to just digress a wee bit. Aberdeen against Dundee United. I forgot Aberdeen had a player called Fatty.
What are you trying to say? I didn't know they had a player called Fatty, actually. I'm going to go into the Aberdeen game a wee bit later, telling he's in big trouble after the loss. So Fatty must have... it must have been a bit overweight last night, John, because they are doing terrible, actually, Aberdeen. I mean, as we speak, he might even be sacked. We don't know. But as it stands, he's not been sacked because I checked it. He's still in the position, John. Fatty, brilliant.
Okay. You know, sack a Scottish Cup winner.
He's a Scottish Cup winner, I know. Aberdeen Scottish Cup winners, John, they're in big trouble down the bottom of that league. Rangers win their 2 games in hand. They're 6 points adrift of 11th place, John. So that's... I'm surprised he's still in the position. I know that Scottish Cup win over Celtic's kept him in a job, let's be honest. But, you know, I don't think he's going to last much longer, but we'll wait and see. Right, John, back into this. So I've went through their players, a couple of their players. I'm going to quickly... in fact, what I want to do first, John, is go through the injuries for both teams, because there is quite a few players missing for us. There's only 2 missing for them, or well, 1 and 1. There's a doubt. Rodrigo, he's a doubt with a stud injury. He got a stud in the knee at the weekend in the derby. John Rodrigo, he's a doubt, but he could also make it. And as I said, John, earlier, I think I said Krunic, he's definitely out injured. So they've got 2 possibly missing for this one. But let's run through the Celtic squad, John, the ones that are missing or ineligible. Ralston, injured. Johnston, injured. Yamada, ineligible. Osmond, ineligible. Inamura, ineligible. I can't believe we didn't pick Shin Yamada. I don't know what's happened there, John, with Brendan Rodgers and Yamada, because I thought he looked very decent, the boy. Jota, injured. Trusty, still injured, but he'll be back soon. And Puzzi, ineligible, John. And the one I wanted to have your view on was Johnny Kenny. He was getting games at the start of the season, John. Now he has disappeared. What do you think's went wrong there? He's playing Dyson, he's playing Iniacho, and Johnny Kenny is nowhere near it at the moment.
That's a strange one, isn't it? Because he's just signed a new contract as well, Johnny Kenny. Then suddenly he's went missing from the squad. So I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what's going on there, but I really don't know. Maybe there's been some kind of bust up there or something like that. But I just found it very odd that he was actually picked for the Europa squad when I think there's clearly better players at Celtic there. I know in the striker department we don't have much, but is Iniacho, I don't think he's available, is he, for is he no cup tied?
I'm not. I think he's actually okay, Sean, because he was a free agent, so he's not played any football, so he should be okay, Iniacho. Unless I'm wrong, but I think I'm right, John. I think he's okay, so he'll be available tonight. And then you've also got Dyson, John, as well, haven't you? So, in fact, the bookmakers are giving us a price for Iniacho to score the first goal, John. So he should be available, I think, for that one. Right, I'm going to quickly run through the the Red Star Belgrade lineup, John. What I think the lineup's going to be, and apologies beforehand if I get these pronunciations wrong. As I said, there's not many household names there, John, but I bet you they're all very decent players. So that gives you a wee minute to think about who you think the Celtic starting lineup's going to be, John. Right, but I'll quickly run through these starting 11 for Red Star. And it's Matthias in goal, Sol, Vekovic, Tinzian, Kostov, Elsnich, Hendel, Ivanic, Katai, who we spoke about, Arnautovic, who we spoke about, and Duarte as well, John. So that's the starting 11 for me for Red Star Belgrade. That's the strongest possible team. Don't know much about their subs or anything like that, John, but that's the starting 11, and that's the 11 that started the game against Partizan Belgrade. So I don't think they've got any reason to change anything because they won the game, so they're going to try and keep to the winning formula. But over to you, John. What are you thinking the starting 11 is going to be for the champions heading over to Belgrade, John? What are you thinking, buddy?
Well, they've kept Casper fresh, haven't they, for this game? Started with Sinisalo, so Casper's going to start beside Vickers and Scales, of course. That'll no change. Kieran Tierney on the left, he'll definitely start this one, I think. And on the right, I think it's going to be Donovan, without a doubt. It's going to be Donovan. Centre of the park, the usual three: McGregor, Hitati, and what's his name, Nygren. I'm just getting used to these new players, trying to remember their names still. You get to that age, you don't take that stuff in so well for some reason. Let's see. So it's up front. This is a tricky one. I think it's going to be Dyson straight through the middle. I'm not sure. It could be any actual. I'm just checking if he's cup tied, but I don't think he is.
No, I think he's okay, John. He's not had a club for a while, so free agent. As long as they're signed before that deadline day for the Europa League squads, he should be okay. And he was signed, John. He was signed the day before, so I think it should be okay.
Well, it is tricky anyway because I know. I think he is included in the squad. I think he is okay. I'm probably 99% sure of that. But this is tricky because Dyson Maeda, and there's a choice to be made here between Dyson and Tenecti, who's absolutely on fire.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to start with Tenecti on the left and Dyson through the middle. And the right hand side, tricky. Yang, Forrest, don't know. Forrest never started against Partick Thistle. Maybe he's keeping him fresh for that one. Huge European experience, Sander.
Yeah.
So I'll go for Jamesy Forrest. So I'm going for Tenecti, Dyson and Forrest as the frontman.
Aye. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'll stick with that as well, John. I don't think there was a place in the start lineup for Arnie Engels. I don't think there was a place in the start lineup for Sriracha either. I think it'll be Kieran. Donovan, he picks itself. And yeah, bang on, John. I totally agree with every player that you picked there, actually. Unless he puts any actual up front, puts Dyson on the left. That's the only thing I can see that would maybe be different. But
I can't see it myself, Sander. I can't see that. I think with the form that Tenecti's on, I don't think he's going to get dropped for the team. James Forrest on the right, maybe he might want to start with Yang out there because of the pace that Yang's got and he's got extra height. It's always good for a headed goal. So he might take that into account as well. But I think Jamesy will have in the European experience, he might go for him because he's still a cracking player, James Forrest.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, John. That's it. That's the starting lineup. I just wanted to quickly run through some of the betting as well for this one. Hearing that Celtic are hot favourites, but they're not actually hot favourites. They are favourites, but they're not hot favourites. It's quite close, actually. That's why I said I think it's got to draw it and all over it, this one. But it's 17-10 Red Star Belgrade at home, which I find surprising, actually, John, with that intimidating atmosphere. 2-1 the draw. and 8-5 the Celtic win away from home. So Celtic are favourites, but only very slight favourites. 15-2 Iniacho to score the first goal, and make that roughly about 71. You've got 17-2 Dyson Maeda to score the first goal. Yang is 12-1. Tanekte is 12-1. Balikwisha, funny enough, is also 12-1. He'll probably not start. So I don't understand that. And Rio Hatate is 14-1 to score the first goal. And if you're looking for an outside bet, Big Scalesy, 35-1, scored the other day, 35-1, brilliant price. And Big Cameron Carter Vickers is unbelievably 60-1 to score the first goal. So that's your betting for that. Anything stand out, John? If you had a spare pound, anything you'd put your wee pound on?
I really don't know. Tanekte, very direct, terrifies players. That he creates a lot of space. So with the players backing off from him, they might leave a couple of yards for him to have a wee strike, Sander. So maybe a wee pound on him.
Okay, doc. If you had that pound, yep, yeah. I'm looking at Rio.
Oh, I've got a pound, Sander. Don't worry about that.
All right.
Well worth it. I've got a pound lying there to spend to burn, so I might throw it on tonight.
You split it with me and just put 50p on each. I'll pick Rio at 14-1. All right, John. That's that. That's it, John. Just a wee, not even a sum up, John. Just how do you think it's going to go? How do you think this is going to? Is it going to be attacking by Celtic? Are we going to play defensively? We don't know much about, Red Star Belgrade, John, but I've just got a feeling it's going to be one of the defensive performances by Celtic, trying to hit them on the counter-attack. But, the bookies are no daft, they've put Celtic favourites, John, so it might be the other way around where Celtic are attacking them for most of the game, John, and they're trying to hit us on the break, but I don't know, John, it's just that intimidating atmosphere. It's always the same when you go to these stadiums, isn't it? The fans push their team forward, if you like, and I think that's what's going to happen tonight.
Look, I don't know anything about Red Star Belgrade. Absolutely nothing, but did they know play Rangers a couple of seasons ago or something?
No, and I do think Partizan Belgrade got knocked out by a Scottish team just a couple of weeks ago, John. I think it was Hibs or Dundee United, one of the two of them, put Partizan Belgrade out of Europe, John. So that maybe gives you a wee idea where the level is at if the Scottish teams are knocking them out, the lower Scottish teams, sorry. And no disrespect calling them lower Scottish teams, but they are, John, and they're knocking out, teams from Belgrade, John. So that gives you a wee idea of where their clubs are at, I think.
Aye, but I don't know how the game's going to go because I don't know anything about them. Obviously, I know of Red Star Belgrade. I definitely know about them, but in the current times, I know nothing about them. So, aye, it's a hard one to call. It's really hard to call when you know nothing about them, to be honest with you. But it's Celtic in Europe we're talking about, and I think it is going to be one of the games where Red Star, they will have maybe slightly less possession than Celtic, but probably look more terrifying going forward when they do have possession. And we've seen it with Kairat Almaty, So it's Celtic in Europe we're talking about here. It's never been an easy watch for Celtic in Europe away from home, is it?
No, you're right, John. It's Kairat Almaty is very fresh in the memory, isn't it? So we just hope that we're fitter, we've improved since then, and we can get a decent result over there. Right, John, predictor. We've just one game to go for this one. We'll do the weekend predictor on Friday because we're Monday, Wednesday, Friday, folks. Remember, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday we'll do a podcast. So we'll do the weekend one on Friday. But for this one, John, we've done the predictor on Monday for the midweek games, and we've only got this one to do. So a one-game predictor, John. We'll let you go first. What are you thinking, buddy?
I was just looking up Rangers beating Red Star Belgrade at Ibrox in 2020. I knew they'd played them. 2022, they beat them 3-0 at Ibrox. and the away game was 2-1 to Red Star Belgrade.
Right, so that gives you another wee idea, doesn't it, John, that, Rangers got beat over there. Probably very, very similar team to what they've got just now. When was it, 2022, did you say?
A few years ago, it was under March 2022. So it must have been quite later on in the Europa League,
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you then, doesn't it, that that's probably the year they got to the final, actually. But it just goes to show you that that's how tough it is, John, going over there to try and get a result. So, yeah, thanks for that, John. Thanks for looking that up. But we're Celtic, John. We're different from them. We're a better club than them. We've got better players than them. So hopefully we can reverse that result, if you like. But what are you thinking, John? What's your score prediction for the night?
I know a lot of Celtic fans get excited in Europe. A lot of younger Celtic fans think we're entitled to win in Europe for some reason. But I'm always going into these games with great trepidation. No matter who it is we're playing in Europe, Celtic away from home. It's always hard for Celtic away from home in Europe. And I don't think this is going to be any different, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to put doom and gloom on it. I'm always for Celtic, always. But I see it with my own eyes. Celtic in Europe away from home, it's no good. It does not make for good watching. But I'm going to go for a draw, Xander. I'm going for a 2-2.
Yeah, I'll go the win for Celtic, John. I think we'll get off to a flyer and beat them 2-1. That's my prediction for the game tonight. Obviously, I would take the draw right now as well, to be honest with you. But so 2-2 would do for me as well. But the 2-1, I'll go for that. Anything other than a defeat, to be honest with you, because it's a lower level, John. It's a Europa League, but we don't be disrespectful to the Europa League, clearly. But, we should be... you can't go from almost knocking out Bayern Munich in the last 32, John, to, struggling against Red Star Belgrade in the Europa League. So we want to see these boys that have come in, your Nigrans, your Tenectis, your the big boy up front, he's Inamura, I was going to call him, Eniacho, sorry. We want to try and get these boys flying in Europe as well, John. We want to get these guys settled into the team and doing well in Europe also, John. So hopefully they are settled, John. Looking at the Partick Thistle game, 4-0, every one of them looked very good. So we're hoping that form just continues tonight.
We can only pray that form continues tonight with the new boys, but I keep getting back to it. It's Celtic in Europe. It's always a hard watch. I always find myself watching these games thinking that anything could go wrong here with Celtic, because they always look a bit scared in Europe, if you ask me. Celtic, I think they get into these games with a bit of fear, when in reality they should be really brushing these teams aside, should be going out there and winning 2-0, 3-0. Because Celtic are a fantastic team. They've got great players on their team, but it always seems to be when it comes to Europe, there's a bit of the fear element in Celtic in Europe. I know like you says, Bayern Munich away from home, 1 each, great result, but it was a bad result for Celtic because it kind of cost us getting into the next round, but it was still a good result for a team like Celtic playing against one of the best teams in Europe. Yeah, that was a great result, but generally speaking, I think there's an element of doubt in the Celtic players' minds when it comes to Europe. Maybe some of the Celtic fans as well, like myself. But sometimes Celtic surprise you, Ajax away from home, 3-1, we beat them that time. I'll never forget that game. We'll wait and see. There's no long to wait now. There's a few hours and we're good to go. But I'm looking forward to it. I really hope they come out there with at least a point, Sander.
Yeah, that's it, John. And we can understand why you're saying that, John, because their away form is absolutely abysmal, let's be honest. So we understand why you're saying that. So it's experience, John. You've experienced it so many times, dreadful away results. So we just hope that changes tonight. Game's on TNT Sports, TNT2, actually, if anybody wants to be accurate. It's on TNT2, easy for me to say. And it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, so that's where you'll find the game if you want to watch it on the old telly. Right, John, that wraps up the preview then. Good luck to the champions against Red Star Belgrade, and stay safe, everybody that's over there. Stay safe, get home safely. That's all we want. We want all the supporters. We don't want any more supporters, fans in hospital with these absolute thugs over there. Right, John, let's have a wee word on the predictor. We did the other day for the midweek games. We didn't get any right, did we, so far anyway? I know there's a few games tonight as well and tomorrow night that we're still to get the results for, but Aberdeen 2-0 defeat to Dundee United. I think you said Dundee United 3-1, so you got the gap right, 2-goal gap, John, but you didn't get the 2-0. You said 3-1, so unlucky there. Falkirk 2, Hibs 2 finish, John. I think I said 2-1 to Hibs, and I think you said a draw, John, did you? I can't remember. Can't remember what you said, but I know you didn't say 2 each, can't remember. But another one was Ayr against Dunfermline, John. That was a 1-0 win for Brownie, John. Scott Brown getting a brilliant win at Dunfermline, East End Park, John. So Brownie is back up and running.
That's good. That's good. Well, it's not good he's beating Lenny, but I think I predicted a Falkirk win against Hibs, and obviously I predicted Lenny to turn over Ayr United. But Bruni's got the upper hand, so well done, Bruni. Maybe just likes to get one over on his old gaffers under raise the team spirits, get out there and make sure you get a win against Lenny.
Yeah, that's his former boss, isn't it? So yeah, brilliant. And they're best of friends, the two of them, aren't they? Two great guys as well, by the way. So that's why we do Lenny Watch, John. That's why we do Bruni Watch. No other podcast does it. We always like to keep an eye on our legends, former legends. Still legends. Make up your minds, Ander. Right, John, while I'm mentioning the competition, if you want to dig out some comments of the correct scores so far, that'll be in the last podcast, John. There's a few there if you want to read out some of them. I know that Bossman A's already said 2-1 to Celtic tonight, and that's what I've said, I know, actually. So hopefully both of us are right. The competition, folks, there's 25 players there. There's a few not given us any over the last 2 weeks, any correct score guesses. So this is our last chance. If you don't give us correct scores, I'll not name the names, but you know who you are if you're listening. If you don't give us them, we'll get another 2 new players in. So get your guesses in, folks. Get your guesses for the competition. The massive 25-player league on the right-hand side of your screen there. It's absolutely fantastic. Great excitement. You know, Roseanne will be up there at the top of the league. She gets her guess in nice and early. In fact, I think she's already got her guess in, John, if you could dig it out for us. And maybe she doesn't want us to read it out. Maybe she doesn't want to give the secrets away. I don't know. But get your guesses in, folks. One guess each in the comment section. Correct score guess for Celtic versus Red Star Belgrade in Belgrade. It's in this to win the fantastic prize, by the way. What a prize this is. Celtic scarves, Celtic tops, Celtic watch, Celtic pens, Celtic lighters, Celtic flags. It's all there. It's already been ordered. Everything is here. It's already in the box, ready to be packed off for the end of the season, for whoever's at the top of the league at the end of the season. And by the way, I keep forgetting to mention that if there's 2 people at the top, or even 3 people at the top of the league at the end of the season with the same amount of points, it has to go to a spin the wheel game of fortune, if you like. Bruce Forsyth again, John. We'll get Bruce Forsyth in to do that if that's possible. Get him in from beyond the grave.
Bruce Forsyth.
We need to spin the wheel if there's more than one joint entry at the top there. I would just put it down to a playoff game or something like that instead of spinning the wheel. Give everybody a chance to get a final score predictor, and saying that they might not get it right. You know, these playoff games you get at the end of the season. You're talking about Bruce Forsyth there. Did you see my photograph of Bruce Forsyth and Luke McCowan, twins, separated at birth? That's quite good, actually. Good game.
What's that?
Which mean was that? I thought it was Bruce Forsyth. No. Get your entries in, folks. It was quite good, that, John, by the way. That looked like poor Luke McCowan, eh? Dear oh dear. Right, John, you sort of lost me a wee bit there with that looking like. Absolutely brilliant. Right, John, comments. If there's any guesses in there, early guesses for tonight's game.
Alright, so guesses anyway. I'll start with Collins. Well, you, Dave, says 2-1 to Celtic. So level with you there, maybe 2-1 to Celtic.
Yeah.
Colin Stewart says, not sure what Celtic team will see. I'll go for one each. He says, a young Rangers fan asked me, who are we playing? Asking who's Celtic playing. I said Red Star Belgrade, and he said, I thought it was Vesta something.
Yeah, that's we'll stick to Red Star Belgrade, I think, rather than using their actual name. So one each, John. That's a good guess, by the way. I said it at the very start. This one has got draw written all over it. Hopefully, I'm wrong. I'd rather win the game, clearly, but a draw isn't the end of the world, is it? But that's a good guess for me, one each, actually.
Aye. Well, I'm picking a draw. I says 2 each, but that's more in hope, to be honest with you, Xander, because I always fear Celtic coming into Europe. I always fear the worst. And that's me, trust me, everybody, that's me being hopeful, saying 2 each with Celtic. At Celtic in Europe, it's always, for me, it's always one of the hardest things to watch when it comes to Celtic. It's very uncomfortable. It's like going to Ibrox when Rangers were Rangers. It's unpredictable with Celtic in Europe, you know what I mean? So I'll stick with my draw. Thank you very much. Thanks for that, Collins.
Yeah, cheers, Collins. Good luck to everybody. In fact, James, Roseanne, Collins, everybody that's already got their guess in nice and early. That's what we like to see. Get your guesses in nice and early. It's easier for me to lock the scores in, if you like, knock them down, take a wee note of them, and it's easier for me to check later on after the game. Any more, John? Is that it? Is that the only ones I've got a guess in so far?
No, there's quite a few. Claire thinks it's going to be 1-0 to Celtic.
Yeah, good luck. Who was that? Sorry, John.
Claire,
right. Good luck, Claire. Good luck with her. She's not got any points. She's the same as me, actually. Claire A, isn't it? She's no points, nil point, same as me. So good luck tonight, Claire.
That's where you'll remain, Xander.
Yeah, we'll see.
0 points, end of the season, sitting down there, relegated. Banned for next season's competition because you get no points.
Yeah, the walk of shame. Absolute walk of shame. Is the wooden spoon, is it? You don't want to finish bottom, so you want to at least get 3 or 4 throughout the season, right? Because if you get 3 or 4, you think you'll be okay. You'll not get that dreaded wooden spoon.
Well, there's going to be a few in the dreaded wooden spoon, Xander. And luckily, I know for a fact it ain't going to be me because I'm sitting up there at the top with Roseanne. But she's just keeping that spot warm for me right now, trust me. Anyway, Lack Winder Pal. Hail, John and Xander. Great chat. I'm going for 3-1 Celtic versus Hibs.
Yeah, well, Lack Winder Pal isn't in the competition, John. So I did ask he or she if they wanted to join. They've not got back to me. So I think it's just, I know, Hibs. Hibs has not been mentioned once. So, but, you know, if that's for the guesses for the Hibs game, then that's a nice and very early guess in for the Hibs game, because that was Monday, I think that comment came in, wasn't it? So, yeah. If you want to join the competition, like Wonder Pal, let us know in the comments and we'll add you to that massive league table, because there's 2 or 3 ready to drop out. So, let us know in the comments, pal.
Aye, and we can't tell people enough. If you haven't put a guess in for a few weeks, you get dropped out the competition. I think it's only fair to give other people a chance. If you're not participating, there's no point in you being in the league. We'd rather have people that actually want to play the league. Anyway, moving on. Paul McComb says, great pods, lads. Hail. And thanks, Like Winder Pal, by the way. Thanks for your comment.
Yeah, cheers, pal. It's Like Winder Pal's been on a few times, but it's just fleeting appearances, shall we say, every couple of weeks we hear from Like Winder Pal. Yeah, Paul, did Paul have his guess?
No, yet. I've not came across it yet, but thanks anyway, Paul.
Right, cheers, Paul.
If you're listening, Paul, get your guess in, or you might lose 3 points there, mate.
Yeah, I think Paul will be okay. He's always up there. He's probably waiting to nearer the time, John. Today, he's probably waiting to today. He'll get his guess in with this podcast. He'll put a comment with this podcast, I think, with his guess.
Right, thanks anyway, Paul. Rosemary says 34 days with no home game. Unheard of. It's a long time, but you've got to remember there was a 2-week international break in there But what is it we're going into? 4 domestic games away and a European game away.
Yeah, that's it, John. It's been quite poor. Not one game in a home over a full month. I mean, the grass must be at Celtic Park must be immaculate condition. It must be like an absolute bowling green. The grass at Celtic Park. We'll find out on Saturday, I suppose, against like Wonder Pals Hibs, John. So we'll wait and see then. But yeah, 37 days or 35, whatever it is, days without a single ball kick at Paradise, John. It's good for the groundsman, I suppose. The groundsman will be happy with that. You know, all they have to do is keep the grass nice and trim. You don't need to worry about, you know, tufts of grass coming up with slide tackles and having to fix that and all the other stuff they have to do, John. So I suppose it keeps the groundsman happy.
Aye. Well, that's another new pitch that Celtic had laid, wasn't it? During when the season ended, Celtic laid another new pitch. So I think it's kind of partly, is it 3G you call it or something like that?
Yeah, that's right. Wee bits of plastic in amongst it, isn't it, to keep it a wee bit tougher during the winter months. But it didn't work last season, did it? Part it was in dreadful condition during the winter.
Oh, if you're a team like Celtic, you need an immaculate pitch to play on. But another new pitch laid down, and it will be, like you says, absolutely immaculate. Anybody looking at the Celtic Park pitch right now will think it's one of the artificial pitches. It's so good, but you know that's what happens when you don't get to play on it. Whatever's happening with the fixtures, I don't know. But there you go. Next up was Paul McEwen. 2-1 to Celtic. Thanks, Paul.
Paul McEwen, yeah, he's right in amongst it now, isn't he, Paul? Yeah, the battle of the Pauls, who's going to finish above each other. The two Pauls, Paul McEwen and Paul McComb. Both battling out there, battle of the Pauls. Good luck, Paul, with our guests, Paul. Good luck to both the Pauls. Good luck to everybody with our guests in the comments. I didn't realise so many people had put their comment in. Actually, maybe I've not checked the comments properly, but I'll have a wee look and see who else is still to register their guests for the league table, John. Anybody else?
Roseanne says, back into Loch Lomond without a life belt if they don't behave. And then she says, just a wee hopeful score prediction for Wednesday, 2-0 to Celtic.
2-0 to Celtic. That would be fan-dabby-dozy. That would be tremendous. Would love to see you on that 12-point mark, Roseanne, if you get that 2-0 scoreline. That would be a tremendous away result for Celtic in Europe, especially against a team that is firing just now, John, on form. Unbeaten, actually. They're unbeaten, Red Star Belgrade. So, 13 games into their season.
Well, what about our comment about back into Loch Lomond without a life belt if they don't behave? What if they don't win? Back in without a life belt. Rangers fans cheering them on from the side of the loch with the rubber sharks jumping in, all that stuff, having a wee splash.
Yeah, that's what the whole Nigerian interview was all about. I was laughing at that. You know, they're getting laughed at all over the place, John, for stupidity like that. You know, Nigerian couldn't keep the smile off his face, could they?
That's funny. I want to swan. I want the Celtic fans will never let go the Loch Lomond thing. Anyway, thanks for that, Roseanne, and good luck with your score prediction. 2-0. I'd take your score prediction over mine's all day, Roseanne. So here's hoping you go top of the league with 12 points tonight.
Yeah, that's it. Good luck, everybody. Good luck, everybody, with your guesses. It's going to be a close one, I'm afraid. I think it's going to be a draw, but I'm going to let my heart overrule my head with my prediction, John. 2-1 to Celtic.
Well, that's why you're sitting with 8 points.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah,
I'm only kidding, Sand. I mean, you'll pick up points eventually. We know that. You'll not stay on 0 points. I mean, you're quite good at predictions of the season. Before you were flying. Last season, I won it. This season, it's still early days. You've got a few right, so.
Yeah, it's fine, John. It's very early. There's only a few games gone. That'll be fine. Anybody else for the predictions, John?
We would never sell a club. Our opponents for the game on Wednesday night are no mugs and are unbeaten in the league for 30. With 34 and only 5 against. That's a goal difference, I take it. So my score prediction is 2-1 to Celtic.
Yeah, and good luck, by the way, with your guess. But there's also the goals they're scored in Europe as well, John, because they had to play a few qualifying rounds in Europe, so you've got to add the goals they scored in Europe as well. Yeah, they know where the net is, John, and that's a concern for all of us. All right, John, anybody else got their guess in before we call it a day?
I will fly through a few. Chris D thinks 2-1 to Celtic. Good luck, Chris.
Yeah, good luck, Chris.
Yeah,
And by the way, John, before we move on, John, Chris D messaged me and said he's not in the league table, and I've obviously messed up a wee bit there, so apologies to him. There's a name there that's dropped out that's still in there, and Chris D's was removed accidentally, so you'll be back in there, John. He'll be back in there, John, sorry. In fact, there is his name there. His name is in the league table anyway. It's back in there, but I've dropped him out accidentally on Monday's podcast, John, but he's back in now, so apologies for that, Chris D.
How many points is Chris on? Is he on 3 points? I'm not sure.
No, he's on 0 points.
See, he's one of your mob, is he?
Yeah, he's one of my bottom of the table wooden spinners, John. Yeah, before the games to go, I'm sure both Chris and I will get one game right. I'm sure of it.
Well, there you go, Chris. Sanders picked the same score as you, 2-1. So maybe that's the first 3 points on the board for both of you tonight.
Yep. I really couldn't care less, John, to be honest with you. I just want Celtic to get a brilliant result, and we move on to the Hibs games, because you know that's going to build our confidence, getting a good result away from home in Europe. We just don't want one of these horrible, lacklustre performances that we've seen so many times, John, in Europe. We just want a convincing enough performance, if you like. Even the draw would do. That would just keep the ball rolling, I suppose. But a defeat against Red Star Belgrade, it's not what we're looking for, John. Definitely not. So it doesn't matter what the score is. I just want to see a good performance to start with, to be honest with you, and a decent result at the end of it, John. That's what everybody's looking for.
Oh, it's exactly what I'm looking for. We'll wait and see, Xander. We've no long to wait. Just need the boys to grow up, become men, stand up against these teams, and show them why we're Glasgow Celtic, former European Cup winners. First Western European team to lift big ears, know what I mean? So we've got to let these teams know who we are. We've got a star above our stadium for winning the big trophy. It's time to start playing like Celtic should be playing in Europe. Anyway, Paul McEwen says, hail Celtic, and the Celtic women are well. Thanks, Paul. And to finish it up, we would never sell a club, says Roseanne, has more points than the Rangers.
Yes, it is. That's true, actually. And she's played less games. So, and by the way, there's no need to call me Big Ears.
Big Ears, the European Cups, and that's Celtic. That's who Celtic are. That's what Celtic should be. That should be the benchmark for Celtic. Watch the Lisbon Lion videos every time before Celtic playing a European game. Get the players together. Watch the European Cup final. Watch what it means to be Celtic. That's what it means to be Celtic. And the players should be given no less than what the Lisbon Lions gave, and be worthy of playing in that Celtic jersey, Xander.
Yeah, well said, John. That's it. And I think it'll be okay tonight. That's why I went for the win. But, it's Europe, as you say, John. It's unpredictable. We just don't know what's going to happen. We'll wait and see. At 8 o'clock, kick-off later on tonight. Good luck to the boys in the green and white. Thank you for coming on, John. Appreciate that, buddy. Good luck, everybody, with the competition. Get your guesses in for the correct score now. And we'll catch everybody on Friday, John. We're back on Friday for the preview of the Hibs game. We'll see you then, buddy.
I will. Well, before you go, just let's hope it's a good Friday. We're talking about good things rather than bad things. Another thing I promised at the start of the podcast, what cars were famously made in Yugoslavia? It is indeed the Yugo. If you remember, if anybody my age remembers the wee cars in the 80s called, probably out in the 70s as well, the Yugo. Well, that's what we're up against tonight, the Yugo builders. So there you go.
Yeah, we are. We knew they were famous for something. Right, okay, John, that's it. Thanks for coming in, buddy. As I say, stay safe, everybody. Get home safely. Don't get involved in anything stupid over there. Just go over, watch the game, and get back home again. And we'll catch everybody on Friday for the preview of the Hibs game. Hail, hail for now, folks. See you later, John. And thanks for watching, everybody. Hail, hail for now.
Hail, hail, mate.